So it's basically the summer. So all of the stress about the mocks and unit tests and exams and school in general, all of that stress is over. Yeah, you still clicked on this video. That makes me think that you're more determined to get the top grades than the average student. Most people, when summer rolls around, they throw everything to do with school and they just start brain rotting. They spend hours a day on YouTube, Netflix, TikTok, and by the end of summer, they've made absolutely no progress whatsoever on themselves. But if you just finish year 10 and you want to make the most out of year 11, then you need to do things a bit different. Listen, to make things clear, I'm not advocating for you to spend the next 2 to 3 months studying 4 hours a day. I wouldn't even tell you to do that during the school year. My channel is all about efficient studying, remember? But you could use your summer in a way that's going to give you an insane return on investment as soon as the school year starts. I always say this, but you need to remember this. You need to drill this into your brain. GCSEs are a competition. Only a certain number of students can get a 9 on any given exam. Usually, it's around 5%. So no matter how hard or how easy the exam was, only the top 5% of those people that took that exam will get a 9. So you need to be better than 95% of people taking that exam with you. How'd you do that though? Well, let me tell you one thing. 95% of students are not using their summer effectively to prepare for the school year. So by doing some work in the summer, you're already getting ahead of everyone. But first, let me tell you about Hicks Bypass from Hicks AI. So this is Hicks AI's new bypass feature called Hicks Bypass, and I think it's going to be a game changer. Basically, what I've done here is just ChatGPT 4.0. I just told it to write me a 500-word article about the most effective studying techniques, and it wrote me this article. I go to Hicks Bypass, and I just paste in the article, right? And I've already done it, but I'll just do it again. Press check for AI. This is the first feature, which is the check for AI feature. What it does, it's not like all of the other AI detectors. It actually takes them all together and checks for all of them. So you save a lot of time. You don't have to go through each one just to make sure if it's AI detectable or not. It just does it all for you. So as you can see here, it failed the GPT-0 test. Copy leaks, it failed. Zero GPT, it's unsure about. Passed some, but most of them, it's 50-50. It comes to the conclusion that this text is AI generated. And just to prove it to you, here are the different GPT detectors. Winston AI says failed. Content at scale says human probability, hard to tell. It says 95% AI GPT. This is Zero GPT, one of the best ones. Copy leaks says that it's 100% AI generated. Originality says it's 100% AI generated. GPT-0 says it's 100% AI generated. So as you can see, it's quite accurate. But then the second feature is possibly even better. And this is the humanize feature. So we'll just go ahead and press humanize here. And it will take that text and turn it into something that a GPT detector can't really detect. So that's what it's doing right now. It's just humanizing it. It's making it less GPT-like. As you can see, it automatically does the GPT detection for you. So here's the humanized text right here. Out of 200 words, 150 words, but that's fine. And as you can see, it's passing all of them except copyleaks and Zero GPT. It's 50-50. But it says that the output seems to be human written, and we could test it, right? So I'll just go ahead and test it. So now I've taken that article that was humanized right here, and I ran it through the same GPT detectors again. So, right, so GPT-0, here I'll just show you the article. It's the new article, it's the humanized article. It says 98% human. Take it to originality, 89% human, 11% AI. Zero GPT says 94% human, which if something is 94% human, no one's going to suspect it, right? Content at scale says, yep, passes as a human. Doesn't really think that any of it, except maybe this part, is AI generated. Passes all of them quite easily. All with just a click of a button. It takes your text and it humanizes it. So no one's going to detect if this is GPT written or if it's human written. You could also repeat the humanizing process a couple of times just to really make sure that it's as human-like as possible. I think these two features from Hicks Bypass are going to be game changers. If you guys are interested, click the first link in the description right now. Thank you, Hicks AI. Now back to the video. Now, what type of preparation should you do over the summer? Well, there's a couple of things that you could do. The first is to actually learn how to learn. I try to learn efficient studying techniques that allow me to take in and digest any piece of information thrown at me. I'd also learn techniques that allow me to take in and memorize information and keep it for as long as possible. Things like flashcards and blurting. And then I try to learn how to bring all of that information together through properly doing exam questions. Ideally, you'd want to spend the first couple of weeks of the summer just trying to figure everything out, crafting the ultimate studying routine that you're going to follow through with when the academic year starts. But it's not going to take 3 months though, especially if you use the ultimate guide to acing your GCSEs. You don't have to go out and experiment on your own. I've compiled literally everything for you. Everything you need from A to Z, all the techniques you need to get the top grades, they're all in the ultimate guide to acing your GCSEs. Just look at what these guys that took it have to say. Over the summer, I decided that I'm going to experiment with the price of this guide. So I've reduced the price by over 70%. I don't know how much longer I'm going to keep this price. So if you're interested, click the second link in the description right now. So that's what you should do for the first half of the summer. Focus on actually learning how to learn. But then for the second half of the summer, I'll spend just a little bit of time every day actually testing out my routine to see if it works. Kind of like giving it a trial or beta testing it. Nothing heavy. maybe not even an hour or two a day. Figuring out my favorite style of flashcards, how big or small I want them to be, my favorite flashcard maker, so on. I think making flashcards over the summer is the best way of utilizing that time, because flashcards, they don't take that much energy to make. They're not like practice questions where you actually have to sit down and focus. I'll make myself a goal of maybe finishing 1 unit per day, and that would take, 30 minutes to an hour, maybe 5 times a week, not even every day, so it gives me 2 days of rest. And then by the end of the summer, I think you'd easily have 70 to 90% of your flashcards completely made. Imagine that. At the start of year 11, when everyone else is still trying to remember last year's content and keep up with this year's content, you already have your flashcards done, which means all of the studying that you need to do from here is just go through the flashcards periodically. And if you have a test or a mock or whatever, just bang out practice questions. While everyone else is still trying to get into that routine, you've hit the ground running. That means that you could spend less time throughout the day studying and more time doing whatever you want. Now that's the academic side of things, but I would argue that a better way of using your summer is to build habits, build good habits that you'd find harder to build during the school year. I often talk about this, but you can categorize the things that affect your studying into 2 different camps. First camp is the things that you actually do during your studying. For example, flashcards, just the techniques that you use, highlighting, whatever, if they're good or not, that's going to affect your studying. And then the second type is the things outside of your studying that still affect it. For example, how much sleep you get, your diet, your exercise, even stuff like the time that you study, so on. Let's say, for example, that you have your studying routine down to the most minute detail. Everything is perfect. It's the most scientifically advanced technique out there. But guess what? You're only sleeping 4 hours a day. Are you still going to get the top grades? Of course not. Consistent, healthy sleep is a prerequisite to getting the top grades, no matter how good your studying technique actually is. Likewise, your diet, exercise, how much you scroll on social media, all of that stuff can affect your studying equally, if not more, than the stuff that you actually do during studying. Oftentimes, people start the school year and then they find it very hard to build those habits. They sleep less because they have to wake up earlier for school. They don't go to the gym because they can't find the time and energy. They might get more stressed, which causes binge eating, and so on. All of that will affect your chances at getting the top grades. But if you use the summer to build those good habits, if you use the summer to develop your studying routine, to build a habit of going to the gym consistently, by the time that the academic year rolls around, you can easily adapt those habits into your school year routine, while everyone else is still trying to get into the groove of the academic year. Remember, get the ultimate guide to acing your GCSEs now at the discounted price.